Hello again, everyone. Continuing on with stories of Jesus. Now, Jesus liked to tell people stories. His stories had special meanings. These special stories were known as parables. One day he told this story. Once there was a farmer. He went to his field to plant his seeds. He scattered the seeds here and there. Now, some of the seeds fell on the path. The birds flew down and ate those seeds. Some of the seeds fell in rocky dirt. They sprouted, but there were too many rocks. The roots could not grow and get water, so when the sun grew hot on them, they died. Some seeds fell where they were weeds. The seeds sprouted, but the weeds grew bigger and crowded them out. Other seeds fell into good dirt. There were no weeds or rocks. They settled deep into the dirt where no birds could get to them, and they grew and grew and grew. The people wondered about this story. What does this mean? They asked Jesus. And Jesus told them, the seed is the news about God. The birds and weeds and rocks are like some people's hearts. They hear God's words, but they have their hearts on other things. They don't understand. They don't love God and they don't follow God. But the good dirt is like the hearts of people who do understand. They love God. God's love grows in their hearts like a beautiful, healthy plant. Many people came to hear these special stories of Jesus. Jesus told stories about God's kingdom. God's kingdom is wherever God is king, and wherever God is king, his love will be found. Jesus said God's kingdom is like a mustard seed. It is one of the smallest seeds in the world, but it grows and grows and grows. And when it is grown, it is one of the biggest plants in the garden. It is so big that birds come and rest on its branches. God's kingdom can start very small. God's love may be in only one person's heart, but when his love is shared, his kingdom grows and grows and grows. More and more people want to follow God. Jesus told another story. He said God's kingdom is like yeast. Bakers use yeast to make dough puff up. Then it will make soft, fluffy loaves of bread. Jesus said God's kingdom is like yeast. A woman mixed the yeast with flour. She made dough. The yeast made the dough grow big and puffy. God's love can start small like yeast. It can mix into our hearts. There it grows bigger and bigger. Soon we have enough love to share with everyone. Once there was a fisherman, said Jesus. He threw out his net. Down, down it went into the lake. Soon the fish began to swim around the net. Many fish swam into the net. The fisherman waited and watched. When the net was full, he pulled it up onto shore. Then he sat down and sorted the fish. He tossed the good fish into the baskets, but he threw the bad fish away. God's kingdom is like the net, said Jesus. Many people will come to it. One day the angels will sort the people. The good people will get to stay in God's kingdom, but the bad people will not get to stay. God's kingdom is like a treasure, said Jesus. It is like a treasure hidden in a field. Now a man was working in the field. He did not know about the treasure. Tap, tap. His shovel bumped into something. He looked at it. He dusted it off. It was real treasure. He was so excited. He quickly hid the treasure again. Then he sold everything he had. He took the money and bought the field. Then he ran back and dug up the treasure. God's kingdom is like a man who buys and sells, said Jesus. This man looks for good things people would like to buy. He gets those things and sells them to people. One day this man was looking for pearls. He looked and looked. Then he saw it. It was a perfect, beautiful pearl, and it cost a lot of money. But the man didn't care. He sold everything else he had. He took the money and bought the pearl. God's kingdom is the real treasure. God's kingdom is perfect like the pearl. It is better than anything else in the world, and it is worth anything you might give up for it. It was late in the day, and Jesus was teaching by the lake. Many people had come to see him, and Jesus was tired. Let's go to the other side of the lake, he said to his friends. So they got into their boat. They started to sail across the lake. The boat rocked gently up and down, but the wind began to blow stronger. The waves began to crash into the boat. It bobbed high and then dipped low. Water sloshed into the boat. Everyone was afraid. Everyone but Jesus. Jesus was asleep on a pillow in the back of the boat. His friends woke him up. Jesus, don't you hear the wind howling? Can't you feel the boat tossing? We're going to drown. Why are you afraid? Jesus asked. Then he looked at the wind and the stormy sea. Peace, he said, be still. The wind stopped blowing. The waves stopped crashing. Everything was quiet and still. Jesus' friends were amazed. Even the wind and waves obey Jesus, they said. Now, once people crowded around Jesus as he walked. They pushed this way and that. They even bumped into Jesus. Some people just wanted to see what Jesus looked like. Some people wanted to talk to him, and some wanted to listen to him. One woman wanted Jesus to make her well. She had been sick for 12 years. She had spent all of her money going to see doctors. No one could make her better. She kept thinking, if I could only get to Jesus, if I could just touch his clothes even. She pushed closer and closer. Finally, she was close enough. She reached out and she touched his cloak. Right away, she felt better. She knew she was well. Jesus stopped walking. He turned around and said, "Who touched me?" "All these people are crowding around you," Peter said. "Many people touched you." "But I felt some power go out of me," Jesus said. Then the woman came to Jesus. "I touched you," she said. "And you are well now because you believed," said Jesus. "Go in peace."